theorists who've written about this, like Barrington Moore, that true revolutions, in order to succeed in reaching their systematic set of goals, often need quite a bit of a non-hostile external environment. And here it's the sort of we construct our own reality type thing. Eastern Europe, let's not forget that from the beginning of the Ukraine Revolution, from the beginning of the Georgia Revolution, they were being cheered and championed and encouraged as freedom fighters, as we'll support you, we'll back you up, you're wonderful, you're great, and so on. Now, especially as you're confronting the threat of death and hardship and hunger and so on, something like that matters, and it matters a great deal. And you could see this in the constant complaint you hear by various intellectuals who have played a key role in this revolution, is that how come they don't talk about the Tunisian Revolution, they meaning the West and the United States, talk about the Tunisian Revolution and the Egyptian Revolution in the same way that they talked about the Ukrainian Revolution and Georgian Revolution. Why is when do we overcome a never-ending, impossible to, in sort of an irrefutable, irrebuttable presumption that you are always suspect by virtue of the fact that you are Muslim, Arab, like spicy food, I don't know, whatever it is. Instead of, French perfumes, you like oily Pakistani perfumes. Till when do we fight with this irrebuttable presumption? Now, that will, I think, play a very important role. I don't know if it will play the critical role, but it definitely, when you talk to these kids who are in Egypt confronting the constant threat, they want to feel like heroes, and they want to feel like heroes throughout, by everyone. And opinion is divided. Some are satisfied, happy with what Obama has said. Some think this is more double talk. Why was the American Special Envoy meeting with Mubarak and members of security forces? Why is Egyptian liberty always, or Tunisian liberty, or whatever Arab liberty always under the condition, but we have to be careful lest it compromise our real friends and the people we really care about. That's a tough situation to be in. So I think we do help, and we do play a big role in creating our own reality, and this definitely is part of it. The other question about the change of government and so on, I think you're right. My biggest concern is not the Puritans or the Muslim Brotherhood or whatnot. My biggest concern is that cultures of brutalization have a tendency to reproduce patterns of abuse and brutalization. And that there has to be an ethos of forgiveness and sort of a ethos of starting a new page on an all-inclusive platform, a very humanistic, high-minded ethos, because which does not exclude, putting some of the real criminals on trial. That doesn't exclude it, but if a revolution gets sucked into There are so many people who were chickens, so many people who were hypocrites, so many people who were two-faced, and so then you end up perpetuating the same culture. The other thing is that the people who led this revolution, they are the technology kids, granted. They are the young kids who have had access to information and knowledge that doesn't exist in their own educational system and that they wouldn't have had otherwise. However, they still have a huge population that 40% of this population is illiterate. Much of this population is not, even if they're literate, they're not educated. That places a very heavy burden on them to set their priorities straight. That the provincial government is that education and development and ending corruption have to be not just the top priorities, have to be the only priorities. They have to manage to communicate the sense of excitement about what excited them about these ideas, liberty, freedom, picking your own leader, so on, to these generations of people who are farmers or laborers and so on, who are primarily concerned about feeding their families, and that's a challenge. That's something that will need wise and sagacious and thoughtful people, and it will also need that you quickly establish a network of people who are interested in seeing you succeed as a democratic nation and building systems that can help you while remaining from networks such as, for instance, Saudi Arabia or Libya, which is not as much. That might try to solve your economic woes for a short period, a short, immediate economic woe, but it's a trap. If once you give in to a culture once you give in to a relationship that does not want to see you succeed as a democracy, because you are strapped, because your economy is in ruins and so on, the cost must be much higher. And Saudi Arabia is already on record as detesting the Tunisian revolution and the Egyptian revolution, and wishing they can, have a magic wand and they will all disappear. The thing is about the Muslim Brotherhood or the first and last election idea. This is the typical Mubarak boogeyman, and it's a boogeyman that was raised by the Algerian government before Algeria went into a massive civil war, and it's an endless catch-22, right? Mubarak consistently, just today, he had an interview. I brought it with me for some reason, in which he said, I am tired of being a president. I really would like to step down. You can't imagine how much I hate being in power. But if I step down, these goddamn Brotherhood people will come to power, and then I'm betraying my country and betraying all you good people out there in the world, and I'm a self-sacrificing human being, and I have to do what's good for everyone. How long can you... fear goes a long way, as our recent experience with Islamophobia amply shows, and every other hate creed that led to human misery. Fear goes a long way. However, there are legal and constitutional means by which you negotiate and interact with religious orientations or religious ideologies in a democracy. Secularism is not just the American model. There are a variety of, whether you want to call it secularist or it doesn't really matter, where basically you reject the idea, fundamentally, you reject the idea that those who think that they know best for all, those who believe that they are endowed with a divine right to decide for others what is good for them because of they have a direct hotline to God, or because they have a direct hotline to the devil, or because they have a direct hotline to the sexiest person in the world, whatever it is, that makes them believe that they know what is right and all others by definition are wrong. That's an ideological thread, not necessarily limited to religion. I mean, in Germany, it's the German Constitution struggled with fascist and Nazi parties, as the American solution of allowing communist parties to run and to form and run and so on. It's because the United States has very strong institutions that allow it to, and you have to strike the balance between exclusion that